So can you please tell me what is the purpose of meta tag in HTML documents?
Okay, so basically the meta tag in HTML, it is useful to provide the information about the web page. And
Mm-hmm.
this information is not directly displayed on the page, but it's actually help browsers and search engines to understand what page is all about. So yeah, this is
Okay.
the purpose.
Okay. So how can the meta tag affect search engine optimization?
Uh, okay, so Miratek can affect the search engine optimization by actually
Mm-hmm.
helping search engines to understand the content of a web page. So
Okay.
basically, the descriptions and the keywords Miratek
Uh,
provides clear information about the page content. So when we search for something, just like when we search for something, and search engine
mm,
use this information to decide if a web page matches our queries or not. So I think this is how the mirror
okay.
tech effect of searching. Yeah.
Okay. So have you used image tags like IMG, right?
Uh, yeah.
Yeah. So can you please discuss the alt attribute used in IMG tags?
Okay. So basically, the alt attribute in image tag is used to provide the text description of the image itself.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So and it is also important for the several reasons. Just like if the image cannot be displayed, the alt text
Mm-hmm.
will show the image instead. Okay. So
Okay.
and it helps the user to understand what they are missing. So it's a crucial for accessibility as the screen reader use this text to describe image. So yeah, I think this is the use of image tag.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why is the alt attribute important?
Okay, so when we talk about the importance, so because I think it's improved the web accessibility and by providing
Mm-hmm.
a text description of the image for the user,
Okay.
basically
Okay.
who cannot see them. So this
Okay.
also helps screen readers, which convey what the
Mm-hmm.
image displays to visually impaired users. So yeah, I think
Mm-hmm.
this is important, and it also
Okay.
assists in a situation where the image fails to load on a web page. So
Okay.
yeah, I think this.
What would be a good alt text for an image showing a company logo?
What would be the good alt tag? Sorry.
What would be the good alt text for an image showing a company logo?
Okay, so basically the good alt text for an image, which is showing for a company logo, would be the name of company, which is followed
Okay.
by the word logo. So okay,
Okay.
let's take an example. So if the company is called the Sunrise Bakery, so
Mm-hmm.
let's take randomly. So the alt tag could be Sunrise Bakery logo. So
Okay.
yeah, I think this simple descriptions accurately tells users and search engines what the image actually represents. So if
Mm,
they can't see it, so yeah, that would be the
okay.
yeah.
What happens when margin and padding value uh, are negative? When margin and padding values are negative.
So actually, so when we actually use the negative values for margin in CSS, so it's
Mm-hmm.
basically pulls the element closer to its neighboring element. So,
Okay.
and actually overlapping them if the negative value is large enough. So so
Okay.
by using the negative values for padding,
Mm-hmm.
actually it does not have the standard effects and can lead to unexpected behavior.
Mm-hmm.
As padding is meant to be increase the space size of an element. So yeah, it will happen when we use the negative value
Okay.
in margin padding.
Okay.
Yeah.
What are JavaScript modules?
Okay, so the JavaScript models actually allow us to break our code into the separate files. So and it
Okay.
make it easier to organize and manage also. So
Mm-hmm.
basically, each modules can contain the functions and classes or variables that
Okay.
can be imported
Okay.
and used in other modules as well. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, this also helps in keeping code parts usable and
Mm-hmm.
independent also. So this is the JavaScript
Okay.
modules. Yeah.
Okay. How do you import and export modules?
import and export modules. So we can actually share code between the modules by using the import
Okay.
and export statement. So
Uh-huh.
to actually make a functions or variables available to other modules, we can use the
Uh,
export before the declaration. Okay. So
okay.
and to use these in another module, so we can actually use the import at the beginning of the files where we want to bring in. So this is, and from which modules as well. So this is I think uh, import and export. I
Okay.
can import. So,
Okay. Okay. What are the benefits of using modules?
uh, benefits of using modules.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it helps uh, by using the module. So it can help to organize code better, and it will make it
Okay.
easier to maintain an understandable code. So
Mm-hmm.
modules actually let us to divide our program into smaller and manageable parts. And
Mm-hmm.
actually each part can be developed and updated independently without affecting others. So I think this is the benefits of using
Okay.
modules, and
Okay.
it will actually enhance reusability and reducing errors as well. So yeah.
Okay. Okay. Can you please describe the fetch API used for HTTP requests?
Okay, so fetch APIs. So basically, the fetch APIs in JavaScript let us make a network
Mm-hmm.
request similar to XML HTTP request. Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
it's also used to request and send data over the internet, and actually fetch provides a more powerful and flexible feature, which is set to handle
Mm-hmm.
requests and responses. So and it will also return promises, and it will make it easier to handle asynchronous operations, and we can
Mm-hmm.
also manage data flow in our application. So this is the description of the fetch used in HTTP request.
Okay. Okay. Got it. So can you please also discuss the use of const and let in JavaScript?
Okay, so basically in JavaScript, the const is used for the variable that won't change after they are set, and
Okay.
it's actually enhance the code safety and predictability. And let, when we talk about the let, so it allows variables to change and limit their scope to the block if they are defining
Okay.
in
Okay.
the block if they are defining, and such as within the loops, or in a particular condition. And basically the both provides a better management of variables scope
Mm-hmm.
as compared to the war. So yeah,
Okay.
this is the use of
What?
let.
Okay. What about the benefits of using these variables, const and let?
Okay, so when we talk about the benefits of the constant let, so in JavaScript,
Uh-huh.
it's offered actually the better control and security in our code. And const
Okay.
actually present the reassignment and making our code more predictable. And when we talk about the let, so it's a block level scope, and it
Mm-hmm.
reduces the risk of bugs by limiting where a variable can be accessed. So I think
Okay.
these
So
are the,
okay. Do you know about spread operator and how it is used?
yeah, I know about this. So can I explain
Yeah,
this?
yeah, please.
Okay. So basically, the spread operators in JavaScript is a simple way to expand element of an array into the
Mm-hmm.
place where the multiple elements are expected. So
Okay.
it's actually look like the three dots. So where we can
Mm-hmm.
use it into the combined array, and we can actually add items to a list or copy of an array or object without changing the original one. So I this is the spread operators, and this is how we can use it. Spread operators.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Uh, how can the spread operator be used with function arguments?
Okay, so the spread operators can be very handy when we are working with a
Mm-hmm.
functional argument. So let's
Okay.
say if we have an array of numbers and we want to find
Mm-hmm.
the maximum number, so we can
Mm-hmm.
actually use the spread operators to pass each number in an array as a separate argument to the
Mm-hmm.
functions. Okay, so this is how it will use in functional argument, and it makes us code cleaner and easier to understand as well. So
Okay. Can you please explain the concept of destructing in JavaScript?
Okay, destructuring in JavaScript.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, it is a technique that let us to unpack values from arrays
Okay.
from the object into the different variables. Okay, so
Okay.
it actually simplifies how we can access data as an arrays on object, and when we can also pull out just a part we need directly into the variable.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is
Okay.
destructuring. Yeah.
Okay. Moving ahead. And what is object destructing?
Okay, so object destructuring in JavaScript is actually a way to extract multiple properties from an object. And
Mm-hmm.
I think, it can assign them to the variable in a single statement. Okay.
Okay.
So this make it easy to access and use a specific property of an object without having
Mm-hmm.
to write the object's name. So I think it's a neat way to handle objects and reduce code clutter. So this is, I think, object is.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how can destructing be useful in function parameters?
Okay, so destructuring in functional parameters actually help to simplify the handling objects property within the functions.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so
Okay.
we can instead of passing entire object to a functions and accessing its property one by one, we can actually
Mm-hmm.
directly specify which property we want to use as a parameter. So
Okay.
this actually make us functions more cleaner, and the function itself is easier to understand. So it's clear actually what data it's operate on. So this is, I think, uh, this searching helps you from somewhere.
Okay. Uh, okay. Moving ahead. What is the event loop in JavaScript?
Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
event loop. So
Yes.
basically, the
Yes.
event loop in JavaScript is a system that actually
Uh-huh.
helps JavaScript to manage multiple
Okay.
operations. So
Mm-hmm.
even though it can only do one thing at a time, so it's
Okay.
actually allow JavaScript to perform background tasks like loading images or just like fetching data. So while
Mm-hmm.
still responding to user actions, just like click or key presses. So this keeps the program running smoothly and responsibly. So I think this is the event loop in JavaScript.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, moving ahead, can you explain the difference between the call stack and the task queue?
Call stack and the task queue. Okay.
Yes.
Basically, the call stack is, I think, where the JavaScript store functions that are currently running or actually
Okay.
waiting to run. Okay, so
Uh-huh.
each new
Uh,
function is called is added to the stack, and completed functions are removed. So basically,
okay.
the task that when we talk about the task view, so it actually hold tasks from asynchronous operation, just like the timers, or just like the data request, which is waiting for their turn to enter the call stack when it's free. So uh, all I know about this call stack and task.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. Okay. So, as you mentioned in your resume that you know React, right?
yeah,
You have worked on React as well. Okay.
yeah.
So, I'm just going to ask few questions on React. Okay.
Fine.
So, what are the life cycle methods in React and how do they work?
Okay, so basically the life cycle methods in React are the functions that execute a
Mm-hmm.
specific stage of a component's life. So
Mm-hmm.
they actually help to initialize and to update and clean up the components as well. So let's say an example. So component did mount runs after the creation, and a component did
Mm-hmm.
update applies when the component update. And
Okay.
when we talk about the component will mount, it's actually handle the cleanup before removal. So I think these methods ensure smooth operations for the components life cycle. So yeah,
Okay.
this is how they work actually. So yeah.
Okay. Can you explain what happens in the mounting phase of a React component?
Uh, Okay, so in a React component, so basically in a mounting phase of a React component, so
Mm-hmm.
the component is created and inserted into the web page. So
Mm-hmm.
basically this phase includes the setting up the initial values, and it will also building the component structures, and it will also
Mm-hmm.
making it visible to the screen as well. Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
once the component is fully ready and displayed, so basically the React runs away the additional setup it's needed. So just like the fetching data. So this is actually what happened in mounting phase of React.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So how would you use the component did update method in a component
Uh,
for React?
Okay, so the component data update method in React is actually used after the component updates, just like when
Mm-hmm.
it's when its states or properties change. Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
we can
Mm-hmm.
actually use it to perform actions that needed to happen after an update. So just like
Okay.
the fetching new data based on the update properties or perform calculations. So it's actually ensured that any changes are reflected in the component promptly. So this is how we can.
Okay. So moving ahead, mm, how do you manage state in a React application?
Okay, so manage state. So in order to manage state, so basically in React application, so we can
Mm-hmm.
manage state by using the use statebook in functional component. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so we can also use in a state property in a class component as well. So basically the states hold information that can change over the time, and it will affect the component's behavior and appearance also. So we can actually update the state by using the functions like set state in class component, or we can use the
Mm-hmm.
setter function from the use state function component. So this is how we can actually manage the state in React application.
Okay. Okay. So moving ahead, what are the differences between local state, global state, and server state?
Okay, so difference between basically the local states actually refer to the data which is managed within the single component, and
Mm-hmm.
global state is actually which is shared across the multiple components and can be managed by using tools like Redux. Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
and server state is the data which is fetched from the server, and it's
Okay.
sometimes managed by using the library which is like the React file, and
Mm-hmm.
local states actually affect only one part, and global states affects the whole applications, and service state
Mm-hmm.
involves the external data. So this is, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, that's I done from my end.
Uh,